Give me 15 minutes and I'll show you how to master Claude Cowork. If you've noticed folks talking about AI agents, copilots, and all these new ways to work, but you're still not totally clear on what Claude Cowork actually does, or how to use it in a way that feels practical, then this video is all you need. Right now, most people are using AI tools only at a very surface level. They ask a couple of questions, get a pretty good answer, and then head back to doing all the actual work on their own. But Claude Cowork is different. It's not just about answers, it's actually an AI agent that does the execution for you. And I know it can seem confusing to start with. You may be asking yourself, is this just for devs? Do I have to run this in the terminal? Or what kind of stuff should I let it handle? So how do I actually prompt it correctly? This is exactly what we're doing today at the end of this video. You'll know exactly how to use Claude Cowork from scratch, and most importantly, what to actually use it for. Hey, before we get started, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Ashwarash Rinavasan. I'm really happy you're here. I've been working in machine learning and AI for over 10 years, so you know any of the tips I'm giving you are actually from an AI professional, not an influence. I hold a master's in data science from Columbia University and have worked as a data scientist at companies like Microsoft, Google, and I'm currently leading AI developer relations at NebES on a fractional basis while I build out the Gen Academy. At Gen Academy, our mission is to upskill the next generation of AI builders and teach you real AI skills. Before we dive into the workflows, let's get grounded on what Claude Cowork actually is, because that's where folks tend to get mixed up. If you've been tracking Anthropic's updates, you've likely heard of Claude Code. That was among the initial agent-style experiences they launched. The idea was strong. You can assign it tasks, have it work across files, and execute multi-step workflows, and actually help you get work done instead of just having a chat. But here's the thing. Claude Cowork was running mainly through the CLI, and for many people that was a hurdle if you aren't comfortable. Running tasks inside a terminal just doesn't feel intuitive, even if the capacity was strong. So what Anthropic did next was actually very smart. They grabbed the core idea behind Claude Code, which is outcome-driven multi-step, and put it inside a much more user-friendly interface. And that's what Claude Cowork is all about. The easiest way to put it is that Claude Cowork is just Claude Code, but with a better UI. Yes, if you go very deep, Claude Code gives you more customization. If you're working on highly specific workflows or need granular control, it can be useful. But for roughly 80% of real-world use cases, you're not missing anything by using Claude Cowork. And that's why this is important. It brings that agent-style way of working to a much larger audience. You don't have to get too technical. You really just need to learn how to think in terms of outcomes instead of prompts. So instead of wondering what you should ask Claude, start thinking about what you actually want to produce. And how can Claude help me get there faster? That change is the whole game. Now let's dive into how to actually use it. The biggest mistake people make when they start with Cowork is treating it like chat. People say things like, summarize this or help me with this topic, but that's not how you get started. Claude Cowork works best when you give it three things: a clear outcome, a clean context, and a defined format. So we'll go through this step by step. One is setting the outcome. Before you even launch the tool, ask yourself what the final artifact is that I want. Is this a report? Is it a presentation? Is it a prototype? Is it a dashboard or a content piece? For example, don't say, help me analyze customer calls. Instead, say something like, I want a structured report with key insights, recurring themes, risks, and next steps. That clarity by itself will boost your results dramatically. So step 2 is getting your inputs ready. Most people completely overlook this. Check if you're dealing with files, set up a tidy folder with just the docs you need, name them right, and get rid of duplicates. Do that basic data cleaning. If your context is going to be messy, your output is going to be messy. Even the top models can't fix messy inputs. So the third step is setting the format. This is the spot where you control quality. Do you want a memo, a slide outline, a table, a dashboard structure, or an HTML output? Say it out loud. The difference between asking something like summarize this versus creating a 2-page execution memo with sections for findings and risks and recommendations are huge. Now let's head into the most important part of this video. So what are the actual use cases you want me to try? And one more thing, if you're using Claude Cowork, you can't use that on the website. On the site, what you're looking at is just a Claude chat. It isn't Cowork, so it won't be handling agentic tasks for you. You can only use Claude Cowork, by downloading the Claude app on your laptop. And another thing to keep in mind is that it's not available in the free Claude tier. This isn't a sponsored video, but I can tell you that the $20 you're going to spend on Claude it'll be so worth it. I feel like you can get $20,000 worth of work done with just that $20 subscription. So if you still want to give it a try, just use it for a month and see how you're using it. And then decide if you want a yearly plan. Now, suppose you already have Cowork on your laptop. Here are some things you can do. The first use case is making interactive HTML animations and dashboard-style visuals. I use this all the time for my AI explainers. Let's say I'm trying to explain a technical concept, like how an AI agent loop works, or how a retrieval pipeline behaves, or how multimodal systems process inputs. I could write a long explanation, but sometimes a visual makes it 10 times clearer. So what I do is head over to Claude Cowork and say something like, I want you to make an interactive HTML explainer for this specific concept. It needs to look clean. I apply my brand colors, keep it beginner friendly, and add step-by-step transition annotations and modular sections. I tell it to use basic animations when necessary and make sure the output is a complete HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file. And then I just give it the concept, and in a few minutes, it comes back with the whole thing done. So wrapping this up in a few minutes is wild, and I can reuse the same asset for my presentations or making my explainer videos. The output I'm getting here isn't really a screenshot, it's a working prototype. You can definitely go ahead and iterate on it. I could simplify this, tweak the colors or layouts, or cut down the clutter, whatever I feel like. Check it out, this is super powerful for tech folks. You can use it for demos, workshops, internal documentations, landing pages, onboarding materials, and even educational content. And the best part is, you don't need to be a front-end expert or a designer. You just need to know what you're trying to build. Now, the second use case is building slides, but not the lazy kind of AI slides. I use Claude Cowork to actually structure strong presentations. For instance, if I'm getting ready for a workshop or a keynote, I just head out and mention that I'm creating a 20-minute presentation for AI pros. I need a story that begins with a concept, transitions into setup, then workflows, and finally real-world use cases, and finishes with advanced insights. So build a slide-by-slide outline that includes speaker notes, visual ideas, and examples. It just makes the slide in whatever colors and styles I give it, then I can tweak it. I can ask it to make it more engaging. I can tell it to include a few screenshots from some surveys, or turn something into a diagram to make the explanation simpler, and it can even write speaker notes for me. This is super helpful if you work in product, DevRel engineering, or basically any role where communication is a major part of your job. All right, next up is the third use case, detailed report writing. This is likely one of the most lucrative workflows to get out there. Imagine you have customer call notes, meeting transcripts, product docs, and scattered insights. Man rally turning all of that into a clean report can take time. So what I do is I head to Claude Cowork and ask it to go through all the material and make a structured report that includes an executive summary, key findings, evidence backing the insights, any risks, and recommended next steps. The really cool thing about Claude Cowork is that it has tons of connectors. So you can link it up with your Gmail, your Slack, your Notion, your Granola, or Fireflies. Whatever note taker you use that pulls from all of these sources, and it can actually go and write back to all of those sources, which makes it super efficient because now you're not just switching tabs. All right, here's another super practical use case, personal productivity. So think about file organization receipts, travel documents, or even planning workflows. For example, after a trip, I might just throw all the receipts into a document, into a folder, and say grab the vendor date, amount, and category, then set them up in a clean table. I can even ask it to build this table in Notion, and it just does it on its own, saving you hours. So you're seeing this, right? Once you start viewing Claude Cowork as an agentic tool instead of just an AI chatbot, you'll be able to get so much accomplished with it. It's more like a productivity layer on top of your work. Right now, I need you to know 3 key things about Claude Cowork. The first thing up is skills. It's just prompts that are genuinely messed up, or prompts that are so detailed you keep using them over and over. For instance, one of the skills I use is writing my blogs, which covers detailed explanations of my writing style, my examples, and how I structure my blogs. And each time I wanted to actually help me write a blog, I just call that skill. When I call that skill, all I need to do is say \name of the skill and then add more details about the blog post I'm planning to write. So skills are just a prompt library you can call with a simple backslash. So the next item is connectors. It's really just what we talked about before, hooking up with tools like Gmail, Slack, Not Ion, Granola, etc. So by linking up to these different tools, Claude Cowork can actually read and write from them. Next up is plugins. It's more like a workflow, so it's going to be a mix of connectors plus a whole bunch of different skills. So you can use these for specific tasks that you do really frequently. Now, I know this was a lot for a YouTube video, but I've tried to capture everything you need to know about Claude Cowork. Though if you want to dig deeper into this, I highly recommend you do. Get some hands-on experience with it. I've created a full 1-hour lightning lesson called Mastering Claude Cowork. It's way more detailed. We go step by step, right from installation to actually building things. And you get to see exactly how these workflows play out in action. It's a free lesson and I've linked that in the description below, so definitely go check it out. And if this video got you hyped about actually building with AI tools instead of just watching tutorials, then you should definitely go check out my startup, the Gen Academy. I'm co-founding it with RV Indanarayan, who is also an AI professional and a graduate of Carnegie Mellon University. And we're building it as an AI educational institute with one goal, which is to help people become the top 0, just 1 in 100 of the AI pros. It's built for coding roles as well as non-coding roles. So whether you're engineers, PMS, GTM, sales, or anyone who wants to see how modern AI systems actually work, our flagship program is a 6-week live cohort called Mastering Agentic AI System Certification. Every week, you're going to be making real projects. If you're technical, you'll write code and build these systems. If you're not, we've got low-code workflow, so you can still build these real applications. The coolest part is that we've teamed up with companies like NVIDIA, Nebius, Llama Index, LangChain, Ag2, and others. So you're learning straight from the teams building these ecosystems, and you get free tools from all of these companies. A quick tip, many folks cover this using their company's learning and development budget. So you should definitely ask your manager to reimburse this course. There's also a special discount for my YouTube audience, and you'll find that in the description below. And if this video helped you out, drop a comment and tell me what you're planning to build with Claude Cowork.